at Pleasanton. So that in the 1920s, Edward Gifford from Berkeley, interviewing the elders in their 80s from the Sierra Miwoks and the Maidus, and a brilliant woman named Isabel Kelly amongst the Coast Miwoks of Marin, they all pointed back to Pleasanton. Where did the dances come from? The teachers came from Pleasanton. Their name was Jacques, Sajelazu, Chipiklu. Notice these are not Spanish names. Part of the revitalization is the revitalization of their languages and their identity. This is Kuksum. This is Russia. 1841, this was collected. You would not see his face. He's like a Kachina. You know the Kachina dolls or the Yebiche of the Navajo sand paintings? He's a spirit impersonator, meaning first man. Is an amalgam between bird. This is what high lineage women would wear. This was collected up in Contra Costa County in 1841. This is a moki. This is a feathered cape made out of condor feathers. So they didn't just run around naked. People of nobility had emblems of distinction, whether it be abalone, whether it be feather regalia. This is where power resided. Feathers. The right to have feather work. So it's not within the mindset. So they also wore the abalone pendants. These go back to 1100 AD. So the second ghost dance of 1890 with Wovoka, the prophet from Schurz, Nevada, spreads to South Dakota. It would lead to the 1890 massacre of the Minihoju Sioux. 300 Indians were murdered for believing in this dance in December 30th or December 29th, 1890. The government outlawed Indian religion under the Indian Offenses Act until 1978. In 1978, Congress passed the American Indian Religious Freedom Act. And I stood up and I said, hey, something wrong here. And they said, are you against Indians having freedom of religion? I said, no. Whatever happened to the First Amendment? But in order to practice your religion, you have to be federally recognized. Indians practicing their religion were using eagle feathers. They could be jailed if they're no longer federally recognized. These are the big heads. This celebration in 1917 up on the Sacramento was essentially outlawed. They revitalized their roundhouses, their prayer houses called the Tupentoks. Phoebe Apperson Hearst purchased the tribe's rancheria in the 1880s. She did not like living in San Francisco. Colbert interviews the Indians from Pleasanton, San Juan Bautista, and he goes on to Monterey, starts recording some of the language. He writes in his 1925 tome that they're extinct for all practical purposes. The implication is that everyone stopped reading there. That scholar, educator, anthropologist, archaeologist, historian, politician would look at the Ohlone Indians or the Coastnoan Indians with contempt. They are phony. And when you have a powerful, dominant society like we have, so some of the kids whose one parent was white, in this case their father was white, a guy named Charles Thomson, Charlie Nichols, they were allowed to go to school. If you had two Indian parents, you were not allowed to go to school. Okay? This is Niles over here, 1891, 4 of the Nichols children. There is, published in newspapers and elsewhere, is the information about poll tax. Who are exempted? Paupers, insane persons, and Indians. Why are Indians listed there? 2 reasons. One is that they're not U.S. citizens. Number 2, they were viewed as incompetents. So they were equivalent to insane people. So in 1900, the special Indian census on the regular census came out, and this is George Santos, Jose Guzman, Catherine Peralta, to name a few. This is the population census, and not all of them, that were residing in Niles. This is the one up in Pleasanton. Angela Colos, her grandson, Joseph Garcia, and Paula. Paula was the grandmother of the godmother of Avelina. This is the houses they lived in by the Hearst property. She built Hacienda de Pozo de Verona, a giant mansion. Living nearby with the Indians working for her and her brother, they lived in these little casitas until Southern Pacific Railroads burnt their houses down. In 1904, there was a philanthropic group in San Jose called the Northern California Indian Association. Their secretary was a lawyer named Charles Kelsey. He goes back to Washington, D.C. for the 58th Congress, submits a memorial and a schedule showing the location of Indians who are landless and essentially dying in 1904, and they list Pleasanton and Niles there. They also have it in Contra Costa County as well. So, in 1904, Avelina died, okay? Paula was her godmother. It says over here, Paula, right there. Okay, anyway. So, here's the death record from Mission San Jose. Avelina Conates Marin, India. She's from Pleasanton. So she's buried at Mission San Jose at the Ohlone Cemetery. Colbert interviewed Jose Guzman, Angela Colos, and Magdalena Armija, who appear in his field notes in 1904 to 1914, and Kelsey was charged to do a special Indian census. Prior to the census of 1905, Kelsey is back in Washington, and a clerk working for the Senate points out a stack of papers with the word California on it, sealed, literally sealed in secrecy. The Senate voted to remove the seal, and they found the 18 unratified treaties of California. They said that we have a problem. The problem is that the government never legally quieted their legal title to all of California. The problem was they were not U.S. citizens. So what the government did is immediately make Kelsey a special Indian agent for California, Northern California. Northern California was from Los Angeles to the Oregon border. He had less than a year to crisscross the state to record all the remaining bands of Indians that had yet to have land. They were landless. So he has Pleasanton and Niles. He part of his census. He's called back. So this is his territory from Los Angeles all the way up to Oregon. 1905. You can imagine the superhighways at that time. Okay? Can you imagine the automobiles and the buggy?